Yo, what up? This your boy DJ 250 in the building with.
Ed Daniels.
We're gonna ask him a couple of questions. He's like a superstar comic, so we're gonna get into some stories. For somebody that never heard of you, we want you to tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a Binghamton born and raised boy, but I've been doing comedy in the Albany area for about 20 years.
Nice.
And doing some traveling and just acting a fool.
All right. So let me ask you, what got you into stand-up?
Well, like a lot of comics, people tell you, man, you're funny, you ought to be doing it. And I learned quickly that wasn't the criteria that made you successful. I once heard from somebody, comedians aren't funny people telling stories, they're funny people telling stories funny. So, your personality comes out and, your jokes take on you, and
Let me ask you this: who do you feel like your personality, as far as stand-up, comes from? Your mom or dad?
Oh, definitely my mother.
Okay. Tell us a little story about your mom that's just like.
Well, I can tell you, my mom. I have a big head and short arms, so my mom used to call me T-Rex, and told me if she wanted to starve me, she'd put my dish in a corner, which I thought was cruel.
So you could.
But kids are resilient. I talked a year later,
Yeah. So, what I wanted to ask you is something that's really hard in comedy is actually building a decent following. Like, what did you have shows in the beginning that it took a while before you could get people to come out, or what do you think is the reason that people actually come to see you perform?
Well, in the beginning, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of family and friends that came out and supported
That's
me.
where you start. That's where
we all do. But then that wears off.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you develop a name, and people, through word of mouth, and then over the years, obviously Facebook.
So for you personally, do you feel like that helped your brand a lot, or you feel like it made it where people have more access to you?
Well, I'm an old man, Sean, so I probably
That's why
I haven't utilized it as well as I should have, but definitely social media has helped.
Okay, so you got to get your TikTok rocking a little more.
I can spell it. That's about it.
So let me ask you, even though you're at a good place as far as comedy goes, what do you feel like you can improve on in the next couple of years with what you're doing?
Well, I think obviously understanding who your audience is. You want to, when you're going into a venue, you want to know, what's out of bounds, where the electric fence is.
So you feel like it's always going to be something that you can and can't do?
Oh yeah, I think I can do it. That's a beautiful thing about comedy. You're really just taking ideas and things that are on your mind and putting a funny twist on, and every one of us has a pretty healthy ego. So you get out there and you get response to it, and it's addictive, and then you just keep going. So I think I can do it as long as I'm alive, honest to God.
Now, earlier I told you to take certain comedians out. Give me your top 5. It doesn't have to be your exact 5, but more or less people that inspired you to want to do comedy as far as comics that's out, and like kind of not that your material is similar to, but kind of help to develop your style.
Sure. Well, there's, taking out the top 5 is kind of tough on me, but
No. You don't got to take out the top 5.
Obviously the Carlin and the Richard Pryors of this world, but more recently, I'm a big Bill Burr fan.
Bill Burr is super classic.
I like Lavelle Crawford.
Okay.
Earthquake. I like
Small Crawford or Big Crawford?
Big Crawford.
Okay.
Well, both.
A little chubby. I don't know
Same guy, but he's a little smaller.
I don't know what it is about the chubbiness. Like people just maybe because of the whole Santa thing.
It makes him jollier, I guess.
I think. Okay.
He's still awesome. I like Anthony Jeselnik. He's real.
Who's
that?
A
younger guy. He's probably in his 40s.
Okay.
He's cutting. He's sharp and acerbic wit. Like he'll go anywhere. I mean, real dark.
So what do you prefer as far as a consumer? Like, do you like darker comedy? Do you like ha comedy? Like, what's your thing?
Well, when I first got into it, I used to always get the question, is your material blue? And I'm like, what's blue? I'm not sad.
Yeah.
It's dirty. It's smutty. And by the way, that's my style. I'm not dirty, but I swear.
Yeah.
And I just feel free, like I'm talking to a group of friends, and I don't think, in this day and age, Sean, the political correctness and the woke culture and the cancel culture. I think that comedy's the last vestige where we can say whatever we want.
No, I don't think so, because like I feel like people look at, a perfect example, the Chris Rock special. It's like I feel like everybody was waiting to complain. Same thing with movies. Like a movie could drop today, and as soon as it drops, it's like, oh, that was trash. People like to promote something being really bad, and it's one of those things. Like, remember back when you go to watch a movie, you wouldn't watch it if you hear from too many people it's bad.
Sure.
And that's one of the things I don't like about the like social media culture, is that people like doom stuff and they kind of forget about the art of it. The art of it is, you know what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying, like, you look at like guys like Dave Chappelle, he's pushing back. Chris Rock's pushing back. We can't let him in and cancel that culture.
Yeah.
Now, there are golden rules of comedy. You don't talk about what you're not.
Yeah.
I don't make fun of Jewish people or black people. I'm Irish. I make fun of Irish. I make fun of me.
Yeah.
And if you stay within
the realm of what you do,
stay within the parameters and don't,
But if a racial joke is really funny, you gotta let it. Like, it just depends. Like you can do certain jokes that, if it's not distasteful, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Certain things, and it's the way you observe things. Like certain things, you're like, you know what, that is kind of true. Like, you know, because a comedian is somebody that observes things differently than other people. We have to look at pain and say, even though this is a funeral, that shit was hilarious.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely prescribed to that idea. But, when at the end of the day, and by the way, I have a lot of brothers as friends, so I'll run that by them.
Yeah.
I'll say like that. Any of my racial material, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I want to go for that laugh. But, you have a style, you put together your set, you throw it out there, you have confidence in it.
Yeah.
I've learned years ago, don't judge it by the laughter, judge it by your own standards. At the end of the day, if I'm happy with what I wrote, happy with what I came up with, I threw it out there, I got a decent response, I can walk away with pride,
So even if a joke doesn't go well, do you still kind of give it time to build, or you just oh yeah, because you did tell me if something really don't rock, you let it go, or you're like, you know what, I got to give it another go?
Well, like I was telling you, there's A's, B's, and C's. The A's are the ones everybody laughs. The B's could be an A, told it differently, moved it around your set, and the C's are see you later.
Okay.
I've been fortunate, and it's funny in my office, Sean, they're all B's at least, but when you get out there in front of people,
They
sometimes
rate it differently than
Yeah.
He's like, what? These are all C's. These are
the
all
crowds that talks and on brown shoes. It just ain't happening.
Yeah. All right. So what I want you to do is, I want you to give your final thought, and also tell them about the show that you have coming up.
My final thought is I appreciate rapping with you, and I'm also March 31st at O'Toole's in County, New York at 7 o'clock. I'll be performing, and come on out. I think you'll enjoy it, and
Could I be your opening act?
you definitely will be my opening act.
All right, I'm gonna be the opening act. I'm not that great. I don't have an A, B, and C, but I leave it to y'all to feel how y'all feel or whatever.
You can do the D material, and someone's got it, right? Oh, he's very funny. Don't let him kid you.
All right, your man 250.
Ed Daniels out.
Peace.